Welcome back to the Fueling Innovation Podcast. I'm your host, Jordan, and today we are at Ziggurat. I'm with Charles, the Managing Director and founder of the company. So welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks. So just going to go straight into it, really, because I think you've got a really interesting story. So tell us a bit about your business and, how did it all begin?
That's a great story. I think a lot of founders don't want to use the phrase "fake it till you make it," but it's definitely a very useful term. I think if I was to talk to other people wanting to start a business now, I'd be saying that you need confidence and a positive mental attitude. But nearly 9 years ago now, I had got a job locally. I've grown up in Northamptonshire most of my life, but commuted into the entertainment industry, and none of those jobs are here.
No.
But wanted to start a family, so I got a job in Daventry. It was a 12-minute commute, and wanted to start a family, but said to my wife, can I have permission to try and do something creative if I can earn the money, if I can pay my side of the mortgage. And so evenings and weekends, I started trying to work with YouTube creators, and originally at the kitchen table, emailing people wherever they are, and slowly as we gained more clients, it got to the point where I could quit the day job, and that was 9 years ago.
It's always really interesting when so many businesses start at a kitchen table or in the most random places. Apple started in a garage. So it's always really interesting, especially when it's smaller businesses, because I always think actually that's part of the charm.
Yeah, I think I suppose you have two stories these days about a business startup. You have someone who's basically funding it themselves. There's no cash. They're at a table or in a garage or something because they're trying to prove the business model. Or you have someone who is taking investment and are a startup, so to speak, and they're using cash to fast track that and to prove this business model much more quickly.
So what would you say makes your business unique, especially with Northamptonshire? Because like you said, media and things isn't really a thing here. Well, it is, but it isn't. It's slowly creeping back, but it did sort of go away.
Well, we're exporting. One of the amazing things about Northamptonshire is there is an enormous amount of creativity, but actually it's not held in businesses. It's held in individuals. So as a county, I think we have an enormous amount of expertise, but as an entrepreneurial group, actually everyone else is making use of it outside. So we joke about the fact that the film industry is resourced by Northamptonshire, but nothing gets made here. And
that's interesting.
I think that's still true to this day. For me, I live here. I grew up here. And the idea of starting a digital business and needing to move to a major city just seemed crazy.
It didn't work.
Illogical.
Yeah.
It's much more expensive. And if we talk about needing to prove a business model and cash being one of the most prized assets at the beginning, why pay for expensive staff or a challenging office situation where you're paying £40 a square foot, but you've got a pillar here and the kitchen shared with 50 people, when our office here is lovely and it's incredibly competitive, and people want to work in this building.
I mean, it's a beautiful building. I'm very jealous.
It is.
I hear congratulations are in order on the King's Award.
Thank you.
So tell us a bit about that and what's the effect been on your business since?
The King's Award has been a surreal experience. There are lots of business awards. There's local county awards, there's business Chamber of Commerce, small business awards, and then there's the national, Lloyd's and whatever. And I'm always wary of anything you have to pay for. There's always some kind of pay-to-play part of that, whether there's an application fee.
Yeah, it doesn't feel as genuine, does it? It almost feels like you're paying to be given a chance.
I understand that it's a business for them, but also, and then other businesses see it as a marketing expense. Sure. But the King's Award is free to everyone, and it's non-competitive. So as long as you meet the criteria that the board have set, you will pass and be awarded. So there were 3 winners from Northamptonshire this year, but there could have been 500 if uniquely we had to have 500 people meet the criteria. Which is interesting in the extent that you feel like you're just being judged on your own. It's not about your profile, it's not about your marketing prowess, it's what you put on paper and your performance. However, it also has the inverse effect of feeling like, because no one else knows any of the other people that win them as well, partly people use profile as a means of understanding, oh, well, if I know who Google are and you've won the award and Google have won the award, then you're as good as Google. They use that to work out where the pecking order is. But it's interesting how as soon as we won it, there was, if I'd say 10 times, if I told 10 people, half of them would think I'd won a Duke of Edinburgh award and that I'd really done great at camping. I had no idea what it was. 3 of them would be like, oh, that sounds great, and wouldn't really know. And then 2 of them would be like, you're part of this special group. That's very prestigious. And something would happen because of it. Like that I'd get introduced to someone, or I'd be taken to dinner, or I'd be invited to a unique event that is only for King's Award winners.
That's exciting.
It is. And in terms of the impact, it's only been, I don't know, 6 weeks.
I think it's not been very long, has it?
No. But we won it for international trade. And so the team here, a huge amount of what they do is they're constantly talking to advertisers and creators outside the UK. And this works really well overseas. And the picture of me with King Charles, I went to an event for the advertising industry recently. And because we work with YouTube creators a lot, YouTube were in attendance, and actually it happened to be that the CEO of YouTube was there. And I used that to speak to him. And
that's really exciting.
If it wasn't for that, there's no way I probably would have been able to get close to him. And the conversation I had with Neil, the CEO of YouTube, was as long as the one I had with the king. And I'm sure neither of them remember me any more than the last time they went to the toilet. But it's useful for us.
It's still prestigious, right? Even if only 2 people out of that 10 know what it is, you don't know where those 2 people could lead to, right? Like, it's that ripple effect, isn't it? Like, it could open way more doors than you even realize, or meeting that one person could actually then open hundreds of doors. Like,
exactly. I think it happened just before we went to this advertising event, and I went to the same event last year and had almost no meetings and had to hustle every conversation. And this isn't the sole reason that things were different, but I do think that being able to go in by being like, oh, he's the king guy.
Yes. It's a great dial, right?
Yeah. And showing people a picture of some, it's a great icebreaker.
This is me with Charles. Look, you know who he is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's probably
and I'm Charles.
It's like with the Charleses.
Exactly. We're in a WhatsApp group. And if nothing else, lots of other people just think I'm really good at camping.
Yeah, I haven't heard the Duke of Edinburgh being brought up in a long time. That was like one that takes me right back to my school days. So obviously, Fuel Innovation podcast, got to talk about innovation. So what does innovation mean to you in your business?
Because we're not a technology company, it's not innovation with a capital I.
Yeah.
It's not research and development, widgets and gizmos and products. But I think our industry is the same age as YouTube. It is 20 years old this year, and that is very new in the grand scheme of things.
You feel really old.
Yeah, sorry about that. But it means that our industry is changing very rapidly, and for us to stay competitive at the forefront of that industry, everyone here is involved in innovation with a lowercase I. I would like to say every day, but that's not the case. On a weekly basis, we're trying to do something which is matching the speed of change in the industry, doing something which is trying to change the way that we provide the service, utilizing AI or data analysis or just good processes. I think here we would describe it as being a direct relationship with the value you create.
That's amazing.
So someone here should be able to see the impact of their work. It's not 3, 4, 5 people removed or the customers over there somewhere, which is incredibly challenging in a large business. But even in a small business, I think an example of innovation with a lowercase I is that you can be innovative in an HR sense, in a financial sense. So we have financial transparency at Ziggurat, where every month everyone will see, I will report on the profit and loss account and our cash flow and individual clients and how much money they're making. And that's partly so that people have an understanding about what the business is doing and how they're doing it. But it helps with that direct connection with the value they're creating. But it's interesting that it also drives people the other direction, which is when they have to get a job at Google or Facebook or whatever, wherever, and they're so disconnected from the value they create. They might be paid well, but actually they're paid very poorly for the hours they put in.
Yes.
One of my goals here is that I want people to be able to say that they have a job they enjoy and are well paid. I wish more graduates had the ability to go through 3 or 4 or 5 jobs just quickly and be like, this is the landscape. This is what a good employer looks like, a bad employer. This is what, understanding the value and being paid well for it and not. Because, it took me 15 years.
It took me 10.
I'm glad hopefully things are speeding up.
Yeah.
One of the things that I love about, so I've been to the university to help with the advertising course and judge some of the presentations and networking evenings. And Northampton students, the 2 things I notice all the time are how entrepreneurial they are. They're always, I think hustle's not the right term because it has negative connotations these days, but they're investing themselves in multiple things, not just the academic.
Can you share an example of a project you've been working on or an idea you've been working on that you would class as innovation for you?
I suppose to go back to what I mentioned earlier about you can be innovative with HR and you can be innovative with the way you do finances. Recently, this is innovative for us. We are looking at having a year's worth of parental leave fully paid. Not now, we can't afford to do that now, but that is our goal. The business should be able to get to that point where it can afford to pay for a year's parental leave. And we've got net profit targets that if we hit, we know that then we can afford to increase that. The first thing we did was to match paternity leave to maternity leave. So our paternity leave here is the same as statutory maternity leave.
That's amazing.
It's great. And someone is currently on paternity leave with 6 weeks, and then they're not going to take more, but they could just take more. And we are looking to use an innovative solution, which is an insurance policy that basically allows us to set a level of compensation, and we will pay a premium for the number of staff we have. And then when someone goes on leave, the insurer pays for the coverage.
That's cool.
It is, and it makes it viable, and it means that this isn't something that just large companies can do. And I think of that as being innovative.
So how has working with university made a difference to your business journey? And what's the experience been like?
So at the beginning, I couldn't afford to hire someone. It was both a financial burden I couldn't afford, but also the risk of hiring someone who then I won't see the value for, or I'm not going to be able to support very well. So one of my first, not employees, but one of the first people that worked with the business was an intern from the university. That was back in 2018, 2019. We then had 4 interns from Northampton over the course of the next 2 or 3 years, one of whom is still working with us today. I'm glad to hear.
Me too.
And that resource of someone who was eager and interested and just wanted to learn about how to do everything, I think gave me the resource that I needed in order for the business to scale. Because a business can only scale when work is repeatable. When one person can just keep doing it on their own and they bring the business in and then they do the work and they execute it, but they can't help someone else to do it, that's not a business, that's a freelancer.
Yeah.
When you can pass it off to someone else and then you can kind of each have your own jobs, that's when a business becomes something more than the one person. And those interns really helped me to understand how that was possible and what what Ziggurat's model was. But also, we're in an industry which has grown 23% every year for the last 6 years. We've grown 40% every year for the last 6 years, and there's no one who comes with training into our industry. And so one of the things I've loved about having the university so close, you have such a great quality advertising and marketing course. I work really closely with the lecturers, and I go in and talk to the students. I talk about what we do. They hear about, the cutting edge, so to speak, of commercial work that we're undertaking, and I can inform some of what is happening. I helped with the working out what was going to be included in the digital apprenticeship degree, and it's a kind of symbiotic relationship of I need people who know more about what we're doing, and the university needs someone to help advise on what's relevant to businesses.
Yeah, because ultimately we can't equip grads with the right knowledge to help them when they leave university if we don't know what you guys are looking for. And I think that's something that actually I love that we work with companies like yourself, because I think it's very easy to so many people do the typical, like, we want them to be self-working, we want them to be on time, and it's like all of those skills are really important. But actually, when you've got 50 applications and they're all saying I'm timekeeping, I'm this, I'm that, they all kind of become the same. So what are those skills that then elevate you in that? And like working with people like yourself means that we can make sure that happens for our grads, and that's really important.
It's also about accessibility for me. So getting a job is partly about being employable, but it's also about being good at applying for jobs. And that is an accessibility challenge, because there are some people who would be great as an employee but aren't as good at applying for jobs. And one of the reasons we spend so much time going to Northampton is that our time talking to students means that we can go, hey, Brian, we love talking to you. You're really interested in what we do. And then when they put an application in and we can see that the covering letter is just, it's not written as well as some of the other ones, we already have experience with Brian.
Yeah.
And we know, actually, let's ignore the application process for a minute and understand that we know the candidate. Anyone that cares about the talent they get into the business should be engaging with the university. If anyone, so many employers at the moment are complaining about the high number of applicants they're getting, how difficult it is to judge them, then stop spending 500 hours reviewing them all and start engaging with the university before they apply. It's a great investment of time. But the other thing I'll say is the access to expertise. I've been talking to the faculty or the staff from the advertising marketing course.
Business and law, I think.
Yeah, for a number of years, and it's a two-way conversation. And I mean, Cardi in particular is an absolute
she's amazing.
And that is something that a relationship you can't have with another commercial entity.
Yeah.
Other businesses don't communicate and operate with each other in that way. You have to be pretty unusual just to hang out with competitors and talk about what you're doing.
Yeah, like you don't really, it's not really like a common thing. It's like, so what are you doing? What's your secret? And actually, I think that's one of the things that obviously universities of late have had a bit of a bashing, as we all know, in the news and things like that. And actually, it's stuff like this that I don't think people realise could actually really change that perspective. But what skills or qualities do you look for in graduates?
I think because no one can have experience in our industry, that leads us towards almost exclusively looking at behaviours and attitudes.
Amazing.
And the things that we judge are entrepreneurialism, or entrepreneurship, or whatever, however you would say it.
Entrepreneurship, I think, is the technical term.
Yeah. That they're independent, that they're smart, and that isn't about academic smarts. It's about being able to do research, being able to handle complex information, being able to handle conceptual and abstract thinking. It's being pragmatic, showing perseverance, those are all qualities that we're really looking for when we're judging people's covering letters. I'm always going to advise someone to help them, AI to help format and reword to be impactful, but to evidence and demonstrate these behaviors and skills, AI doesn't know you. All you're doing is applying and saying the right words for what I think I want to hear, rather than helping to translate your personality, your behaviors and attitudes. And some of the applicants that we've longlisted, I just get a strong sense of them.
Yeah, it's like you want to know their personality and who they are, not what they do.
Exactly.
And actually, I think sometimes like you can have, it's that whole thing is like you can be the most talented person in the world, but if you're a horrible person, like if you don't have nice ethics or it doesn't fit your attitude doesn't align with your company, that can completely mess, especially a smaller business, right? Like it can completely shift everything off. So what advice would you give to a student or a graduate actually that wants to start their own venture? Now I know you said a little bit about this earlier, but
gain experience first, understand the market. I'm incredibly lucky for being an older entrepreneur. And I hate to say that I don't want my advice to be wait. But you can gain experience quickly, but I think you doing something without experience at all is going to mean that you potentially invest in your time. And you're talking about investing in yourself. You invest your opportunity into something which might have a much higher risk or like a lower likelihood of return. So when my wife said, okay, you can try this, part of the thing that I was thinking about was, if I created a business that made nuts and bolts in the UK, I can imagine that it's going to be extremely challenging and I'm going to make a very low margin. Like, there are business models and there are industries that have opportunities and there's some that don't. And waiting, or using your experience and your knowledge of the markets that you might work in to make a very wise choice, even though it feels like no one has any idea what they're doing. But being entrepreneurial isn't about just starting a business and just trying to make it work. Being entrepreneurial is about understanding your opportunity and the context of your opportunity and making decisions about what that is. So if you want to create an apparel business, don't just start printing t-shirts. Like, think about what actually apparel you want to make and what your opportunity is and what other people are making and how much costs are involved before investing yourself in it.
No, I get that. I actually think it's also finding your niche, right? Like, it's like you found your niche.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's something that actually, I mean, maybe I can relate that some more because I'm of photography, but you know, there's so many people out there who want to be wedding photographers or portrait photographers. And actually one of our graduates is a great example of that they went into hair photography, which sounds really strange, but they started working with like Schwarzkopf and Crazy Color and people like that. And actually that's so rare. And that became his niche. And now has become incredibly successful from it. And it's that whole, and it's that whole, actually, I'm not going to do those things that you kind of get taught to do or you know, breaking into fashion is possible, but it's hard. Like, actually find something that is missing. And
that is the entrepreneurship part that I think many people are missing. This idea that if you work hard enough, if you just put the effort in, well, actually, you can get a really poor return on that effort. And someone who gets a much better return on that effort will be more successful. That is the smart decision to try and make early on.
Amazing. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed it.
And good luck for everything in the future.
Thanks.